And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to YSN Prime Time Live. DJ Yoakley, Steve Leslie, the legend Todd Thorne, and a newcomer, Donnie Riccatelli, down at the end of the table. We're going to talk all kinds of football here tonight, gentlemen. A little muggy tonight. I'm not wet tonight because the tent's up and ready to go. The Mother Nature's taking care of us, according to Storm Tracker 21. We're in the clear, just going to be a little bit warm. We're here on the campus of Cheney High School. Thorne, have you ever been here?
I was here once. Lived at this place, man. One of the greatest places ever, right here, Frank Sinkwich Field. I mean, for crying out loud, we're sitting where a legend romped. I mean, my man,
8-8.
Hey, Heisman Trophy right up there in the front of this building. Heisman Trophy. People don't realize it. How many other Heisman trophies are in our valley? Oh, that's right, none.
Zero. Thorny, obviously a graduate of Cheney,
Yes.
correct?
Yep. 1988. Proud graduate.
A legacy of Cheney High School as
Love
well.
this place.
And you got Steve. You're very familiar with Cheney on multiple fronts.
Yeah, obviously, I get to interview Coach Emil each week. It's a pleasure to do that. There are a lot of things that we'll talk about in this show, but they got another big game. When you look at Cheney and the schedule that they play,
week in, week
they
out.
play some people every week, and Coach Emil loves that. So I expect tomorrow to be a great game against Boardman.
One of my favorite people on the end of the table, Donnie Riccatelli, joins us this week. I'd love to have him every week, but it's special this week because it's Boardman, it's Cheney. You have some ties to Boardman, you could say.
I have some ties to Boardman. I also have a little small tie to Cheney as well.
Okay.
So
tell us more.
My nephew, Andrew Galt, gets the start tomorrow for Cheney, unfortunately, due to injury. But Boardman, I live in Boardman. I've lived there for the last 20 years, and my kids all go to school there and get to call the games for them on your sports network. So excited about that. They were a lot of fun to watch last week and call the game for last week. So looking for big things for them this year.
Well, let's get to last week first. You saw that Boardman versus Mooney game.
Yeah.
What stood out to you against the Spartans last week?
Well, honestly, their defense actually is much improved over last year. They have Cam Thompson playing on defense, which he normally hasn't. And he went 10-9 in the 100 last year in track. So having that kind of speed on that side of the ball, plus you had seniors leading like Ashton LaBelle and Stephen Conti, who really flew all around the field and got to the ball. But their defensive line, Joseph Farah, Cortland Love, those guys were great. But offensively, I mean, you're missing a stud in Terrence Thomas. But everybody stepped up. Sean O'Hara was a huge workhorse for them. Fernando Ortiz, it's like a little bit of a thunder lightning type combo, I would say. And then when Tomas Andahar went down, he was a starting quarterback last week. Anthony Hightower came in and really honestly elevated that quarterback play. So
Sean O'Hara, 16 carries, 200 and change. And Steve, you had a chance to sit down and talk to him. What did he have to say?
Yeah, he's a great young man. And we talked a lot about has been offered from Robert Morris, which I think would be a great landing spot for him to play football. He's just that when I talked with Coach Antrim, if there's somebody, Donnie, that runs harder than he does, I haven't seen him.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet
his
either.
yards after contact were off the charts. I enjoyed talking to them, know their family well. Thorny, that's a relative of yours, but
he didn't fall out of the tree, that's for sure.
We were
200 some yards
Donnie
rushing. That's just normal in our family.
Yeah, when Donnie was talking, we were 10-9 guys, weren't we? Or
10-9 40s or
oh, you were talking 100.
Oh yeah, 100.
Oh yeah,
boy.
We were 20
All
something. But Sean O'Hara, the Fozzie Dews. Foggy Dews. I've never heard of that till I interviewed the young man. Now I listen to it. It's Conor McGregor's walkout song, I understand. But I'm with Donnie. It's a team. When I talked with Seth, when I talked with Sean, Donnie, I thought it's the best I've seen them play defense in a long time. And I told Sean, whistle to whistle.
Yes.
Dark jerseys, offensively and defensively,
yes.
We're all over the field. And that's a team that I wouldn't sleep on them when Terrence Thomas comes back here quickly. Cam Thompson, O'Hara, those skill guys, Love and Safara. That's a good football team.
I mean, Love and Safara are basically twins out there. Both 6'3", 285 pounds. And Boardman just hasn't had that kind of line in so long to where you can actually – and then you have a kid that like O'Hara that just wants to put his head down and run through anything. You have him run behind those guys. he's golden. And honestly, when you're uncertain at quarterback play, when you don't have a Jason Treveri coming back out this year because he's a YSU baseball commit, congratulations, Jason.
Absolutely.
But when you have a kid like that doesn't come out, and oh, by the way, Terrence Thomas, you're going to be moved to quarterback, but your knee's a little messed up. Let's get some surgery done on it. You have to rely on a kid like Sean O'Hara.
Thorny, here's the one for me. We're on the west side. We're at Cheney High School. Brian Terleski, a great player that played here.
Oh, yeah.
His son does a nice job on the line of scrimmage.
Tyler was amazing.
Tyler was phenomenal.
Yes.
Absolutely.
First varsity start, I want to say.
First varsity start, and honestly, the kid had such a great game. I even talked to his grandpa during halftime of the game, just telling him I can't believe what a great job he has done to fill in for Aiden Miller, who actually went down with an injury. So
that's it, stepping up, man. I'll tell you what, even Stephen Conti, I mean, I coached his father here at Cheney.
Unbelievable.
I mean, great guy, great doctor, just a good loyal family, local family.
Yeah,
just like we are. And these kids, they get it. And unfortunately, there's times, and fortunately, there's times kids and parents and people move and change areas. And guess what? Boardman's a benefit of it. Canfield's been a benefit of all kinds of places. So just great talent that's gone through this place and has gone elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Big week one for both these teams. Obviously, Boardman with the big win over Mooney, but you flip that coin. Now you got Cheney, a whole different ball game when you look at this. Thorny, you lived it. You've breathed it for many years. What does Cheney football represent to you, and how has it stayed the same tradition year after year after year?
It's just pride and toughness. I mean, that's just how it goes. It's family first as always, but the pride that you have walking out of these hallways. And I mean, they're actually doing it the same way we are. The locker room's all the way back in the back corner. They have to walk and trek all the way down to the field every day. And the time you walk out of the doorway to the time you get to the field, it raises at least 15 to 20 degrees in temperature. It just gets hot down here, man. And it is, for pre-practice type stuff. But the toughness. I mean, just the kids, back in the day, they're going to knock the piss out of you no matter what. I mean, they're going to come up, they're going to be strong. You got, Zordich and Calcagnes, Kavanaugh's, Pelusi's, Jerry Osowski. Jerry Osowski taught me what football was all about. I'm going to give a 2-second story. You guys are going to love this. It's going to take 30 seconds. So anyway, I'm a freshman. Coach Mady says, hey, we need a tight end that can do something here. So he gets one of those cards, you're a, what do you call it? Scout team. So he pulls up the card. It's a blocking play. And he's like, hey, let's see what this Thorny kid has to say. And he flips it over and it's a drag. So as a freshman, when you run a drag, it's what the card says. You run 5 yards out, you put on your turn signal and you go across the middle. That's what a drag is. Well, I knew about 55 and I knew about Jerry Osowski. And I also knew that we were having some QB issues and our QB threw it a little high. So I leap with all my might. I was up probably about a good solid 9 feet in the air. That's my hands topping out. I catch the ball. I get shoulder pad to the armpit area, helmet to the side of the jaw, and my helmet flew. It was sitting on Bella Vista, I swear to God.
Oh, boy.
So anyway, I grabbed my helmet. I get back to the huddle. I caught the ball. I have no idea how the Lord let me catch this ball because it ruined me for life. I get back to the huddle. You had to set the ball in a fire hose. That's what we did, practice. And I passed out cold. I was out of practice for 3 days.
Wow.
This was 2 weeks before Mooney Week comes. They said, we need a wedge breaker. What's Jerry say? Hey, let's get Thorny in there. He can do it. I'm the son of a... So that's just my little story of how I grew up here and how you just learn quick, man. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad it hurts. You just get back and do whatever you got to do.
Jerry O turned out to be a pretty good linebacker, I would say.
It wasn't a bad linebacker. And you know what? He's
pretty good coach.
A solid coach. Probably one of the best there ever been. Story. I can give you story after story, but this ain't about, all Cheney right now. But
we're here.
Guys, we appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You guys coming to the west side and getting a little piece of our history.
So tomorrow, big game, Boardman, Cheney. Obviously, we'll hear from Coach Mill. We'll try to get a couple players as they're practicing literally right behind us. I hope you're enjoying this view. But there's more games in the Valley, guys, tomorrow, and there's a big one in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame Stadium. And Austin Town Fitch taking on Canton McKinley. How do you like this game? I mean, this is a big measuring stick for TJ Parker and his boys on the early going.
Oh, I think so. Anytime you can venue to Canton McKinley in that stadium, number one, you're in for a dogfight. I think you're going to see a big improvement from Austin Town Fitch. I really do. I watched that game a little bit. A good win, absolutely, but I thought they were off target and off cylinder a little bit on offense. I think that that will improve. He has the skills, he has the weapons, but the guy, Thorny, that I love, Cam Smith,
Yep. Oh yeah.
My goodness.
Randy's
In
kid,
the
man. Great kid,
secondary,
man.
junior being heavily recruited. I look forward to Fitch going up there, and I think Fitch is going to put it on him. I really do. I think that it's a game. I think McKinley's down a little bit with all that they've had going on over there in the off season, and I think TJ has done a great job of getting that community ready. They'll have a big crowd. We'll have it on YSN Live for sure. I look forward to watching some of that, but I expect a big Fitch win.
All right, let's go to the next game. Beaver Local at Salem. Thorne, we called points for Salem and Crestview last year.
Yes.
Salem lived up to it. Crestview, better second half.
Better second half, right?
Salem is the real deal. Jackson
Oh.
Johnson, Blaze X-Line. Talk to me about what you're looking at against a Beaver Local team that's built on defense.
You know, that's exactly it. We're going to see what it has. I mean, you're taking the best of one and the best of the other and mixing them onto the field. So, this game could be a 0-0 game.
Yeah.
Not because I'll tell you what, I think I really do. I just think the togetherness and the way the Johnson family has it going right now, they're going to be able to just get things going and rolling. I love Beaver Local's toughness. They've been state wrestling powerhouses for year after year after year after year. Even back in the Rich Wright days and the way things were going. And now, when they got the new turf a couple of years ago, things kind of turned around at that point. And kids are buying back into the program, and they really are. They're solid. And they're another team. They're going to try and out physical you. It's just how it's going to be. And on the other end, Salem just, the big boys up front, along with a QB that can pull it. It's pretty solid.
Salem going 2 platoon offense and defense.
Is there
Good numbers.
We have some
How about
great
that?
we got some great tandems at quarterback wideout. Those two are right up there for sure.
Yeah, keep your eye on Blaze X-Line. He's a guy we didn't talk much last week, but listen, there's 14 weeks left. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk Blaze X-Line. Donnie, big fan of football in the Valley. One of the ones I want to talk to you about, Louisville against Camel. We got Vinny Ballone throwing for 7 touchdown passes last week.
I mean, he threw for 7 touchdown passes against Columbiana. And now listen, Columbiana is probably down this year and everything else, but Ballone's a real deal. He's a great kid, hell of an athlete, junior now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they built that offense perfectly around him last year, and I think you really see it's going to explode this year for him. Unfortunately, for Camel, he's coming into town for them. I just don't see him slowing down. I can't see him maybe throwing for 7 touchdowns, but I'm sure he's going to throw for at least 5.
And he can get it done with his legs, too.
Yeah.
I saw him get it done on the right sideline, running for like 40-yard touchdowns. So
Yeah.
he had 8 total touchdowns in that game against Columbiana, which, by the way, a lot of people down on Columbiana, watch out. Because
Right.
they started to figure out in that second half.
Right.
The next game, you guys might have heard of these two teams. It might be a big game in this valley. It's Cardinal Mooney. It's Hubbard. It's where we originally were supposed to be, but I like it here. I got to be honest, the grass here, I like it, but
Yeah.
it's a big game nonetheless, guys. Talk to me about how you feel this game is going to stack up for these two teams. Hubbard, and correct me if I'm wrong, never beat Mooney. 14-0.
Wow.
Never.
14-0 Mooney against Hubbard.
Oof.
Talk to me. You got a kid that's running for 500. I shouldn't say kid. A grown-ass man
There you
running
go.
for
Yeah, that's a
500
little better.
yards and 5 touchdowns. Talk to me about how Mooney can stop TC Caffey.
Well, I don't know if you can stop them. Obviously, you want to try to contain. I think the big thing for me is the big plays. Donnie did the Boardman Mooney game, and Boardman hits a couple big plays against him. I think if you're Cardinal Mooney, you need to play it almost at 3 yards at a time.
Yeah,
and,
well-
and get it in physical and do those types of things. Can't get into a shootout, but Hubbard's a good football team.
Right.
We talk line. Hubbard's line may be one of the best lines returning.
Yeah.
How about
That's a
that?
key for me. But Cardinal Mooney will make an improvement. Carl Pelini knows what's going on. This is going to be a better football game than people anticipate.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about Cardinal Mooney? I mean, we talk about story programs. Cheney, obviously one of them. Cardinal Mooney has been one of the most story programs in this entire area, and they've always been predictable. Okay, but they've always had the studs to be predictable, and they didn't care. They were going to go belly right and smash you up the middle. It didn't matter. When you don't have a throwing presence and you're down in a game, and you have the makeup of Cardinal Mooney right now, you're never coming back. And if Hubbard controls the line of scrimmage like they will, they're going to be in trouble early, and it's going to be hard for them to come back. So Caffey might not go for 450, but I can see him doing some damage.
Is it one of the biggest games Hubbard's played at home?
It would have to be.
Yeah, I would say it's had to be at home. Exactly, at home. I mean, they played the St. V's in some of those games,
In
or
some of those
in the playoffs and stuff. But
a
let me
home
tell you, at
game,
home, I think it's the biggest game they've
they're
had at
going to be
home
licking their chops.
Listen,
since the
everybody's
Cowboys
there.
always rolled in.
Everybody is there tomorrow night. Every
You're right.
media outlet is there. The game of the week, we're there. You've got the radio. Everybody is there. So wherever you tune in, make sure you're watching because that's going to be one hell of a game. We're excited
Absolutely.
for that one. All right, one I want to talk about real quick before we go to break. Columbiana came up short last week, but I mean against Louisville and Vinny Balloon, we already talked about him. Now they got McDonald. McDonald's really interesting to me because nobody really knows who they are yet.
Right.
Donnie, you guys are very familiar with the program. Talk to me about what to expect against the Clippers tomorrow night.
First of all, let me tell you something. You know, McDonald expected to win that game last week. I mean, they expected wholeheartedly to go in and win that game, and not even win the game. They expected to whip some ass, and they just unfortunately, took it the other way. I think McDonald's just a mixed bag right now. I mean, they're still going to smoke in Myria. They still got speed. They have linemen. They have different guys at different positions, but it's just one of those things that. You look at it and going, really, Columbiana's not that bad either. And Columbiana actually, like you said, they got going in the second half. And Coach Spate, he never gives up on those kids. It doesn't matter. I've seen him call timeouts with literally 30 seconds left in the game, down by 25, because he wants his kids to learn and be in position to do the right thing, as the future goes. So it's a tough game for me to even, if we had to call it, I'd tell you I'm not going to, because it's just, two teams that are historically phenomenal. And once again, the history of McDonald's just sickening as well. So, I think it's just gonna be a great game.
If you're looking at the box score, it was Columbiana's defense that looked bad, but I'll tell you what, second play of the game, pick 6. Wow. And Columbiana was looking pretty good for quite some time.
How about that?
Yeah, I think, McDonald definitely has 2 solid football players in Logan Hawk and Nathan Gilligan. I mean, but the problem is, like Todd was saying, you just have a mixed bag of offensive linemen, defensive linemen. Defensively, you have to figure it out. I mean, week 2, after going after week 1 and seeing them get basically their asses handed to them by Brookfield, you're going to have a great week of practice this week in preparation. Focus is a whole different thing with them. So I would love to say my Blue Devils will pull it off, but again, until they can figure out everything that they need to do, look, you're going to have cycles. And McDonald's in a cycle this year where they lost a lot of key players. So, maybe this year, maybe even next year, there might be a down year for them, but the future's really bright for them.
Let's go one more game before we take a break, because this is one I'm intrigued. I talked to Coach Cusick over at Crestview earlier today. He was not happy with the first half of football that he played against Salem, but the second half, things started to turn around. Things started to go his way. He plays a team. Rich Wright is the head honcho down in Southern. When you look at that, Rich Wright always has his guys ready to play. It's Crestview, it's Southern. It's one of those old TCL matchups that we all love. It's 3 yards and a cloud of dust. What are you expecting from this game? Can Crestview turn it around and really start doing what we thought they could do and keep up with 40, 50-point games?
Yeah, I think if you're Coach Cusick, you pick up where you left off in that second half. I thought they did some things really well and kind of slowed Salem down a little bit offensively with his son at quarterback. I think that will continue to involve. Coach Wright's probably one of the better coaches that's won at a lot of places. Southern is a playoff caliber team every year. I think that's, when you look at all the games we have, that's one of the bigger games on the menu that people don't really look at, but those 2 teams will get after it tomorrow night.
I just think, who would have ever thought both those 2 schools would have turf? I mean, for crying out loud, look at this cow pasture we're at today. I mean, that's what I thought it would have been at those 2 places forever. But once again, man, you just got 2 good programs going at it. Love the fact that it's a big time Friday night game, and the kids, once again, the biggest adjustment, everyone says, I hate to be cliche, but it is, week 1 to week 2, you're going to see what you have. It's just going to be that simple. And then when you get into week 3, now all of a sudden you could start looking at your playbook differently.
Donnie?
Yeah, I think Southern actually had it. That was a pretty solid win for them last week. So, and again, Crestview, like you said, the second half, they come off strong. So it's going to be a tough game for sure for both.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Coach Mill. We'll talk to some players, and we'll go through the rest of the games on the YSN Spotlight for Friday and Saturday. All that and more coming up right after this on YSN Primetime Live.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. when medical emergencies arise. In cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen. We are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
We got viewers from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers, and we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at the big fella coming on in.
That's right, man. Bring it in. Bring it
Chris
in. Grab
Emil,
yourself
the head
some.
ball coach here at Cheney High School, joins us right here on YSN Primetime Live. Coach, you could say this is a little bit of a big game for you. I would say I'm hearing the Antrim Bowl is the storyline for this.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's a big game for sure. Not only because Seth is there, but just trying to get that first win. But with Seth being here, starting the program up and leaving, I want to be Bill Belichick. I don't want to lose to guys that coach for me. So,
while we're talking about Seth, here's my question, and I don't know if I'm sure it's been asked, but you were so supportive of him getting this new job and new gig.
Absolutely.
What were your words of wisdom as he kind of embarked in this role?
Just make it his own. Coming from Mooney, I understand the tradition. When I came to Cheney, and the tradition we have here, and the things that he picked up here, and the tradition that Boardman has, but it has to be Seth's football team. That was probably the only thing that I could say. There's a lot of coaches that came through there, just like a lot of great coaches came through here, but you just have to make it your program. You got to put your stamp on it, because at the end of the day, everyone's gonna look at you, point at you, and everything else. So you just have to make it your program and roll with it.
It's pretty fun for me, obviously, with Coach Chris, and he coached with me, so I'm proud to see him with the head job. You talk traditions. There's such huge traditions here. I remember talking to you, your first games against Youngstown Cardinal Mooney. Those traditions continue. What impresses me when I'm with you every week is how you are with your kids and the love for your kids. So I'm going to go to a Jason Hewlett, who probably one of the best players in the area, if not the best, being recruited heavily by everyone, had surgery. I know you're there with him. I know their family. His older brother is my son's age. That's a great family. People don't understand, DJ, how devastating that is when you lose your guy. Take us through that and how he's doing and the day-by-day steps you take as a football team now as the leader with losing your guy.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. I thought he was down with a cramp, initially, till I seen the reaction of some of the coaches on the other sideline and the guys over there. So just that sudden change, and Drew stepped in and did a good job for us. But I'm sure as a sophomore, he was expecting to play Saturday in that JV game and not really playing Friday night, four plays into an offensive series. So it was tough. It was challenging. A lot of things that we put in was for Jason. I've honestly felt going into the game he could have ran for 200 yards or so. I believe he's a top 5 player in the state of Ohio. So losing someone like that, it's tough. But our guys also got to understand, and something that we've always preached is, there's not one person that's bigger than the program, and it takes 11 guys to come out and play. And, him running for 200 yards, he can't do it without his offensive line and without his other running backs and receivers blocking. And now we just got to rely on those guys more. We have a young quarterback. We just can't put everything on them. So we got to rely on those older guys and those guys up front to lead the way. Jason had a surgery, went great. Is going to make a full recovery. I think 6 weeks. He'll be back. He's not coming back to football, and I think he's going to take basketball off and just kind of get healthy, get ready for track, and get ready for football. The colleges didn't pool scholarships.
That's awesome.
And it wasn't anything that was worth pulling. When I talk to coaches, it's I don't want to say it's common, but the surgery is pretty common. Even the things that were done, they had mentioned before. So, he's in good spirits. Our guys are working hard, and no excuses. Next man up. We got to roll on.
Coach, you already said, nothing's bigger than the next game, obviously. There people will sit out there and say, well, there's built-in excuses now at Cheney. Now that schedule in front of you, there's no built-in excuse about that thing whatsoever. You played the best schedule in our area, I think, on a week in, week out basis. And, just being able to step up week in, week out, I know you have other kids, you have other linemen, you have other people. Talk about, how the team has reacted this week in practice, getting ready for this game coming up this week.
The team has reacted great. They kind of came together. They had a team meeting on Monday and talked about things. Juwan Harmon has been that vocal leader for us. He's a junior linebacker. Nice. He's a captain. And he's pretty much him and Jason have been the two big vocal guys. So he stepped it up even more to really fill the void that Jason left, to be that vocal leader and keep guys together and grounded and focused and ready to work. Yesterday was a little frustrating. They have their days. And after practice, Juwan made everybody get on the line as we were walking off the field. And, he just said, we didn't practice hard, so we're going to run, and that's what he did.
And we've been talking about a little bit about Cheney pride, tradition, toughness. Those things are all key in family, are big keys in what you do with these kids. And I appreciate watching it from the alumni standpoint and understanding what you've done to our kids on the West Side and have given them the opportunities that are sitting in front of them. And I'm not just talking about kids that are going to Division I schools. I'm talking about kids that are going to be, fine young men in an area, in a city that's actually having some tough times right now. Your kids are kind of shining through that. So we do appreciate that as, community and family.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And that's always been my goal. Wins and losses are going to come. I think the wins are going to come the more that they understand that how important the little things are. And those little things are like, just things like, making sure the locker room's not a mess,
right?
Cleaning up after yourself, the way you walk and talk in front of adults, when you walk into a room full of adults, you speak, your pants up around your waist and, all those little things. When those things start to matter, you start to win football games, because winning football games is about details and paying attention to the small things and not just the big plays. And, and that's what we're preaching. That's what we're teaching. That's what we're trying to create around here.
Coach, real quick. So what's the conversation been like with the sophomore quarterback now that you basically have to give him the keys to the offense? And, he wasn't obviously getting all the first team reps before week 1. Now it's a whole different week. And what's that conversation basically been?
Just relax and have fun.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's there's a lot more things that you can be stressed about. We have one of our sophomores that's going to be a highly recruited player. His 10-year-old sister was killed, and that funeral was today. So, I understand that you're stressed, but there's bigger things out there.
Bigger.
Yep. Just grab the football, have fun.
Yeah.
You're going to make mistakes. Everybody's going to make them. Just forget about it, play the next play, but just have fun, seize the moment, and go out there and enjoy yourself.
That's it.
We're here with the head football coach, Chris Emil, and the eve of the Boardman-Cheney game, and we appreciate you sitting down with us. One of the things I was so impressed with was we were here for our show earlier, Chris, and you were talking to your guys, and are there any problems? I mean, when you put these guys on the field, it's so much more than football. It's so much more than a pigskin. You're teaching them about life every single day. And that's, from an outsider's perspective, that's very cool to see, because your leadership goes beyond just a whistle and a clipboard. It's teaching these kids how to get ready every day for life. How was that transition for you? I mean, obviously, being at Mooney, there's a certain way you carry yourself, a certain kind of player that comes through there. And then now you're coaching here. And this is something you're very passionate about, have been for a long time. Is there a difference in coaching styles that you've had to kind of amend yourself?
Not really differences. The biggest thing is, we just have more challenges here,
Sure.
And the challenges are more, I don't want to say at home, but just like a culture type thing, just with the violence that's going on in the city, being at Mooney, I grew up in the inner city. So even in the 90s when it was rough, going to football practice sometimes was hard for me because I was either related to someone. My brother went to jail for murder, or I knew a friend of mine was killed, so I'm going to practice with more on my mind, more on my heart, that I had to deal with than some of my teammates. So that's probably the biggest thing. So what we do every day before practices, we just call it a check-in. When the seniors meet as a group with coaches, the juniors or sophomores or freshmen, and we just want to make sure, when we come out here and we start football practice, that whatever issues you have that are going on at home, whatever may be bothering you, we're a family. We can sit down, we can talk about it. It's not a thing where the guys sit down and I stand up like I'm this, superior guy. It's just family. We're just sitting down and we're going to talk and make sure there's no issues, because when we do coach, we're going to coach hard, and I tell them all the time, we're going to coach you hard. We're going to love you harder. But just making sure that those issues that you do have, aren't there, or you can get them out the way and you can talk about it. And at the end of the day, whether you're a senior or a freshman, like our guys are dealing with a lot of stuff. So just finding that time just to clear their mind and just kind of get ready for football. That's the big thing. But like I said, I mean, our challenges are different. A lot of times coaching football is the last thing we get to do. At Mooney is football. We had double sessions. We started at 6 a.m. and everybody was there at 5:30. I was probably walking in the latest.
He was.
But I've had great coaches my entire life, from Pee Wee football and up. And when I got to Mooney and Coach Steve was my coach, and then Coach Butchie, they showed me love. I'm a kid from the south side of Youngstown, and I'm going to Cardinal Mooney, and the love and the toughness and everything that showed me, is why I wanted to become a teacher and why I wanted to become a football coach, because I wanted to be able to give that back to people that need it, pay it forward kind of thing. And that's why I'm in the position I'm in.
Fantastic.
Coach, the pay it forward thing and looking at, kids practicing in Browns jerseys and different shoes and stuff, but it is what it is. I mean, you're in a situation where you're getting things from other places that are really helping the program, where you don't have to dig as deep to get some things done. And I know that community support is there, but I know that you're looking for more financial community needs to be able to help out the program. And I say it to anyone else, Chris has been a friend of mine for a lot of years, and they need different things and need different dollar amounts and monies to be able to help these kids. You feed the kids still, even through tough times. These kids get fed because, not just because you want to feed them, they need to be fed. They're only getting 1 or 2 meals, and they come from coming to football practice. I mean, you get these kids ready to go. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about him a little bit. Can you please give us a little bit on, Clive Wilson and the situation that he's been in to get to Boston College? I mean, it's a heartwarming story that I think you can give part of it. I know you can't give all of it, but just a little bit.
He's a remarkable young man, for him to have a 3.9 GPA.
How about that?
And just everything you've been through, Clive.
Yes, Coach.
Moved here, halfway through freshman year,
right.
From Brooklyn, New York, and just kind of bounced around and they fell on hard times, him and his mom, and he has 3 sisters, so myself and other coaches, basketball and football coaches, we made sure that they were taken care of, and they were in a hotel for a while, and then they had to go through the rescue mission to find housing. Some things happened there, and then he ended up living in Warren, in a housing facility, and we had guys, Andre Brown and Marlon, picking him up every day to make sure he's at basketball practice and things like that. It was, I don't want to say a blessing in disguise, because of COVID we couldn't be in school, but,
right.
We didn't have to drive over at 5, 6 in the morning to pick him up, but we would have,
right,
if that's
exactly
what was needed. So just going through all of that, and then he went to Chicago. He called one day and was like, "Coach, I'm in Chicago and I want to come back." And I'm like, "Well, what are you doing in Chicago? When did this happen?" And just some stuff happened at home, and he went with Dad and Andre Brown's younger son.
DeAndre,
he has a house around the corner, right on Cheney Circle. So Clive's been staying there. So he walks over to school, and when he went on his visit, our defensive coordinator Chuck Harris went on the official visit with him. He loved it down there. He's seen the family atmosphere. He said the biggest thing that caught his eye was the coaches and their wives and their families. They hung out with the football players, and that's what he wants, and that's what got his attention and he committed while he was down there. And like I said, through all of that, still a 3.9 GPA.
Yeah.
Great for him.
And
doesn't matter what's going on. He has a smile and his yes or no.
People ask me, they say, Coach Emil, I go, listen, there's no better person for this job at this time in this city. And I don't care, bar none. There's no better coach right here, right now than what we got going on with Coach Emil. And he falls in line with some of the great ones, and it just so happens that he's the guy that's here right now in charge.
Yeah, I think he follows along, and you played at Cheney. I think he fits that. He brought the West Side back in. But Thorny, I'm going to pick up the play sheet. We don't want to give Coach Antrim any, but
yeah, just
you played at Cheney.
Yeah,
you played at Cardinal Mooney. I know that they didn't have this many plays in those there. Like, he was a great receiver. I think we had 2 pass patterns in the old school days on the West Side. It was give it to Jerry O and Michael Zordich and the boys. It's a menu at Sonic. But I'm going to say this for the West Side and for people. Thorny, you hit it right on the head. Help this football team out. It's not right here on a football field. It's not game night. It's
life.
Are they in school?
Yeah.
That's right.
How are they getting to school? Right. How do they get from school to practice? How do they have to go to work after school before practice? There's a million things, and this guy does a great job of providing non-football activities for this football team.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. And J.R. Tellington's another one.
There you go.
He has the offer from Tennessee State.
How about that?
And I think he's going to commit there. And
you go play for Eddie.
Play for Eddie George, and then Coach McNutt from YSN was down there.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yep,
absolutely.
I know he'll look out for him.
Rich,
but he's another one. I kind of started working with J.R. Wilson. Going up during recess to tutor, like around 7th grade, and CSB, came in, and he just kind of moved around and bounced around, and he's with his aunt now, and everything's great. But he's another one that's around a 3.0 GPA, and one of our assistant principals took him on a school shopping spree, so he can have tennis shoes and clothes. And those are the things that are important. Mr. and Mrs. Rizzi from Cardinal Mooney, they're feeding a team today. They do it every year. They bring out a big old spread, barbecue and mac and cheese and all kind of vegetables and salad and fruit and cookies. And, so, the support, is overwhelming. But, like you guys said, like the support isn't about, having LeBron spikes or Jordan spikes. It's it might be helping pay a bill.
Right.
We had a young man talking about that today, and it's like he's trying to help, and it's tough. So those are the things that we deal with that a lot of other schools and teams don't have to worry about.
Coach, we are fans, but we appreciate everything that you do on the field and off the field for these kids and for football in our valley and all the sports. So thank you so much for stopping by and spend some of your time. That your guys are, I don't know if they're slacking off or what, but I know it's as soon as you stand up, it's going to be the whistle's going to blow.
They're going to be running. They're going to be running another direction.
I see some 3x1. I see. Donnie's calling the game tomorrow, so he's kind of turning over his shoulder to. No, it's going to be a great game.
We're 3x1 at Mooney.
That's 3x1. Yeah, those 3 guys just ran down 5 yards and blocked. And Coach Emil used to say, Coach Butchie, I'm open. I don't care if you're open, just block.
Glorified guard. That's what
love it.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Anything we can do, you just give us a shout.
We'll do. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, man. There he is, Chris Emil, heading out, gonna coach these guys up again, and a big spread, guys. Thorny's ears perked up. I saw that.
Yeah, did you see when he mentioned food? He was like, I'm a West Side guy. If you want to send one over.
We're going to have some Cheney football players when we come back. We'll take a break more, and we'll get to the rest of the games right after this on YSN Primetime Live.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Back, ladies and gentlemen, to YSN Primetime Live. We're joined by, in the shoulder pads, nonetheless. He's ready to go. He's ready to do this interview and get back out there and crack somebody. It's Clive Wilson. We just literally talked about you with Coach Emil. Congratulations on your commitment to Boston College, man. That's huge. Talk about the entire process for you. A little bit different than everybody else's story. What was it like for you? And was that a kind of an exhale moment when you signed the papers for BC?
Yeah, it was a lot of excitement, talking to different coaches, but to really settle down and pick one specific place I wanted to go before the season was really great, to get my mind off of things and won't have to worry about it. Boston College was it was really fun being there and talking to the coaches and meeting with some of the players. It was really nice.
See?
What was the selling point, Clive? What when you got there, do you get the feeling that this is a place I could see myself playing compared to others you've talked about? Tell us about when you get there. What's Clive Wilson thinking once you get on campus there?
I like the campus is really nice. It's they got an old town vibes to it, how the buildings are structured, and when we went to Fenway Park.
Oh,
nice.
That's
all
not
the
too bad.
coaches, their wives, and some of the players were there. They were just all there. It was like a big family reunion. It reminded me of back here at practice.
They at least give you some good seats?
Yeah. Well, we didn't watch any games.
You just went into Fenway.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thorny?
Clive, just a proud West Sider, alum, and I enjoy watching you go through the process, the 3 years here, and growing along. We knew as a sophomore that you were going to be, a solid kid. We knew about your grades and knew about some of your background and understand where you were family wise. Talk a little bit about the Cheney program and some of the things you have seen in the halls, maybe that kind of tie that tradition into what you guys are doing now. Like just the pride, how is it being a Cheney Cowboy?
There's a lot of pride, the coaches and the teachers take a lot of pride in what they're doing. They're really nice people. I mean, when I first came here, there was no buses for me to get here, and I would have had to change schools if it wasn't for Coach Chris and Coach Marlon bringing me to school every day.
That is one of the best stories that I hats off to you for putting that effort into getting school. So let's go to Coach Emil. Let's go to Jason Hewlett, who had a devastating injury. You're one of the leaders of this football team. How hard was that to watch Friday night?
It was really hard because, Jason, he's a really good player, and he has a lot of college scouts, looking at him too. And there was a lot of people watching the games, and, he's still going to come back better than he was.
No doubt.
That's right. That's why they call him man.
Yeah. Coach Emil, family, DJ, we've talked about it. Donnie, great family guy, has kind of instilled that. What does Coach Emil mean to you as a player?
Coach Emil, he's a really nice guy. He's helped me out in so many ways, taking me to school, helping me with groceries. He's just been there for me for a lot.
That means a lot to you. I know it does.
Absolutely.
How about this one? Coach Emil, but you look over on the sidelines tomorrow, there's going to be another coach you're pretty familiar with, and Coach Antrim. What is that going to mean to you to maybe lay one on him one time?
I mean, it's just going to be another game to me. I mean, Coach Antrim, he's a really nice guy. He was my gym teacher. We get along well.
But just for the hour and a half, you're going to get after him.
Yeah.
Did he give you a good grade at least?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a 3.9.
Well,
of course,
I'm just making sure, because
Absolutely.
I'm sure he's wishing he did if he didn't now, because he's on the other sideline saying, man, Clive, can we go back in the books a little bit? I'll bump that up a little bit for you.
What does Clive want to do when you get to school? You have you thought about what you want to get into, what your degree wants to be, or is it now kind of enjoy a senior year, Thorny? We were all seniors and played sports, and it's kind of nice to have that commitment now. What's your thoughts of, is there anything you'd like to do or like to be when you grow up? Because there's no doubt in my mind this young man's going to do it. No question.
I want to go to engineering there. By the time I get to Boston, they're building right now an engineering building, and by the time I get there, it's gonna be all set up. So I'm gonna be one of the first students in the program. So it's gonna be good.
So it's all ready for you, Thorny. That is what, like we said last week with Dean Boyd, Harvard. This is Boston College.
Right.
One of the best schools in the
West Side
nation.
fans.
Absolutely.
You should be very proud of a man from the West Side going to Boston College.
My younger brother's an engineering major, and let me tell you something. It was a very tough program to go through, but when you're done, the world is in your hands. So take everything that you're getting out of Boston, and please take it. If you could take it and run with it, whether it's running back to Youngstown or wherever. Just enjoy it and know that you're going to have good things coming.
You got your whole crew. You got
we got them all. Everybody's here
right
now.
Say hello to everybody.
Where's Drew?
Where's Drew? We got a new quarterback.
Where's Drew Galt?
Hey, Thorny, let's
Get over
say
here,
this.
Drew.
If Jason Hewlett is watching or listening, what do the Cheney Cowboys want to say to Jason Hewlett?
We love you, dog. We doing it for five, man. We doing it for five, man. We love you, bro.
It does not get any better than that.
This is awesome. I'm intimidated. If I was
Don't be
quarterback,
intimidated.
I might show up tomorrow.
All right, so the Bournemouth Spartans come to town tomorrow night, ysnlive.com. Clive, we're going to put you on the spot. What's the key to getting win number one tomorrow night against a very good Spartan team? Sean O'Hara at quarterback, Cam Thompson. Your thoughts on this game tomorrow night?
We just got to be consistent. Consistency is the key. We got to just play all 4 quarters and get through it.
I love it, man.
See, this is Thorny. This is what stuff's all about right
That's
now.
right,
What's your name?
Casey.
Casey, you have a question for Clive you want to ask on YSN Primetime? No?
No.
Nope.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What do you want to ask him?
That'd be good.
There you go.
You better be good is right. You heard it right there.
This is the Cheney football team. We're proud to have them here on YSN. Good luck tomorrow, boys. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this on YSN Primetime Live.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
What's up, YSN? Steve Leslie, YSNlive.com with a couple Cheney Cowboy football players. Proud to be with them both. Drew Galt and Juwan Freeman are joining us on YSN Live. First of all, fellas, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. How y'all doing today?
We're doing good. I know you guys are ready to go. Another hot day. I guess that's my first question for both of you guys. Thorny, we've dealt with heat. You've played in heat. How hard is it to get yourself adjusted? We see a lot of cramping. We see a lot of those things. How is it dealing with this heat in practice?
I mean, we really just come out here during June, off seasons, prepare ourselves, work hard. I mean, it ain't nothing to it for real. You just got to have the right mindset, the right heart. Got to have your head in the right place at the time.
Drew?
Come out here.
Yeah, I guess it's just, just comes down to putting the work in, in the off season, just running your sprints hard and everything, working hard, getting the right fluids in you. It's kind of how I've been approaching it. So, yeah.
The big key I have is playing football in the city. I've lived here my whole life, enjoy everything about, the Youngstown, the West Side. The big key I have is what you're doing as opposed to what your friends are doing. You know, your friends are at home sitting inside that air conditioning, playing with their guys. I don't even know games right now.
yeah,
Xbox, Sega, their phone.
We're way too
the
old.
difference
for that stuff.
is you're out here busting your ass in this heat, and they're at home, you know, just kind of hanging tough and enjoying the air. What's that like to you? And just so you know what it's going to do for you in the future, is going to make you a better person and a better man overall. So what's that like, knowing that, hey, they're maybe taking the easy street and you guys are out here?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been times where, like, you know, I definitely don't regret it at all, but it's kind of just like, you know, it'd be cool to go hang out with them or, you know, go do something like that. But, you know, it's a grind. So you got to just keep putting work in every day and, you know, just stay focused. So
now, how about defensively from the linebacker spot? Things change a little bit with Jason out. We understand, and we've talked about it as we've gone. What do you need to do defensively as a group to step up in a place where Jason would have been?
I mean, we all come out here to call each other brothers. The team to have my back, I got their back. As long as we come out here, dominate together, play together, I feel we should win and come home with a big W.
Awesome. And Drew, you're stepping into some big shoes right now, you know, coming in. Sophomore, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sophomore coming in to step in the shoes of probably, you know, Coach Chris says it, and we do too. We know he's a top 10 player in the state of Ohio.
I think he might
top
be one of the
5,
best. Yes.
You know, maybe in the state of Ohio, and probably the best defensive back coming up in the future. But he's playing quarterback for you, and he's the leader. Now you're stepping in his shoes. First of all, it's got to make you feel proud to be able to step there. But what do you feel on the daily?
Yeah, I mean, Jason's my guy, so, you know, I just try to be like him every day at practice, you know, try to keep the guys going, you know, just keep pushing them. You know, I got to work hard because everyone's looking up at me. So it's definitely good knowing that, you know, he's there for me. He's been encouraging me a lot. And, yeah, it's good. It's good for that, yeah.
Thorny did. Like, he has like the West Side mentality.
He's got the
both
look,
of them do. They have the look. They have
a little bit of swag.
Little bit of swag.
They're going to knock your head off if they have to.
Take me through that though. You're playing the West Side War against Austin Town Fitch. I mean, whatever you're doing, watching Jason play, and then there's an injury, and they're like, "Drew, come on, it's you." That's a big time.
6,000 people, 7,000 people, 7,000 people watching.
I thought
the last year,
absolutely. And I watched the game. I thought he settled in really well in the second half,
too.
threw some good balls. Take us through that. What's going to your mind? Coach Chris said when Jason went down, he thought it was a cramp until they knew from the other side that it was bad. What's going through your mind right there?
I don't know. It was it felt like a dream. I was like, man, like the ambulance guys they were coming out with the stretcher, and I was like, man, like this is really happening.
This is happening.
So, you know, I mean, I was locked in. You know, I figured it would, you know, happen. I didn't know it would happen like that. I knew it was going to get in.
Sure.
But I mean, yeah, it just came down to making the plays, and I made some mistakes, but yeah, I gotta correct those. But yeah, you know, it was a cool moment.
Drew, talk about your DNA a little bit. I mean, obviously.
Oh my gosh!
Obviously, I'm a little biased because Drew is my nephew, and I just know, you know, from when he was little, just the competitor. I mean, he always wanted to be better than his brother. He always looked up to his uncles, number one, but he always wanted to be better than his older brother. And you could just see the work ethic in this kid, and just the fact that he's got the shot tomorrow. So. Talk about that. Talk about what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, I had an older brother. You know, he's going to Grove City playing baseball, so he's a heck of an athlete. He's a catcher.
You're better though, right?
Right. I mean, I try to be.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, you know, I've looked up to my uncles. You know, try to, you know, be good athletes like them. You know, have the Galton Riccatelli DNA. So it's a good mix.
Good DNA, Torney. That's a good DNA. Let's go to Juwan, linebacker. Borman, very talented. Cam Thompson, Sean O'Horo. Fernando Ortiz. You're going to have a view from your linebacker spot on going in there. What are some of the keys for you? Obviously, O'Hara had a big run game against Cardinal Mooney. What do you think your defense needs to do to slow down a pretty good offense?
I mean, Coach Seth, he got the game down packed pretty sure. You know we're going to come tomorrow ready to play. I'm pretty sure he got the same mindset. Like you said, it's a pretty good team, pretty good quarterback, running backs. I mean, really worried about the running game. I'm not going to lie to y'all, but I feel like if we come together, keep our heads in this game, you know, play smooth, play to the fourth quarter, hold our ground.
Is it nice? This is a rivalry game, Donnie and Thorny. You know the other team. You know some of those guys. It has to be fun.
I mean, yeah, it's fun playing against your brothers, but once you're on the field, you know, all that got to cut it out until, you know, the end of the fourth quarter.
That's it.
It's fun playing. I mean, if you're missing out, you're missing out. But the game is fun.
It's fun playing, but you still got to talk a little.
Oh,
For
yeah.
crying out, you can't be quiet out there.
No,
Have some
no,
fun. Have some
these
fun.
two aren't quiet.
It's high school football.
You know
Have
what,
a
though?
blast.
On a serious note, one of your players loses a 10-year-old sister. We've talked with Coach Emil about that a lot. There's a lot other than football. I mean, you guys do a great job of coming to school and being taken care of and people looking out for you. How hard was this week when a teammate loses a family member? I know it's been a rough week. I coached Coach Emil. Talk about how rough that's been. I mean, we are thorny in real situations. We've talked about this. It needs to stop. It needs to change. From a player standpoint, a young person that a lot of people look up to you guys on the West Side as football players. How hard has it been?
It's pretty hard. I mean, count each other as brothers, and he lost his sister. I mean, that's like us losing a sister.
Sure.
And I mean, I knew him personally. It was my cousin. I mean, prayers out to the family. I'm sorry for the loss. I mean, we're going to go out there. We're going to get this one for Jason, for her, for Cam, the family, and we hopefully, everything goes as planned.
How awesome is that?
Absolutely awesome.
Thoughts and prayers, obviously, to all of them. We have a couple minutes here. Thorny, something real quick.
Just know that they say there's kids and there's young guys looking up to you. Think about this too. There's a lot of older people and alumni that are looking up to you guys.
Absolutely.
We appreciate the fact that it gives us a reprieve from a week that you guys know. You don't know what happened in their lives, and their deal to go out and buy a $7, $8, whatever, $5, $10 ticket is cool as heck for them to just come and sit down and watch you guys.
Right.
Know the pride that's there. I walked on this field when you walked out of that tunnel up there, that locker room, and all of a sudden it felt like it was 105 instead of the 85 that it was. You guys know that feeling. And when you come down here and the smell of the locker room and the way the grass is, they always left it high. It looks like you guys might have it a little lower than we actually have it.
Well, you were
but
back
it's
in the
always
Stone
high.
Age.
And exactly, man, you have that tie to the past and tie to the West Side that when I go places, I work for the city of Youngstown. I see people and everyone, they're just proud to see these kids. It's really good. And we appreciate the fact that you give us entertainment. It's odd to say that, but you give us entertainment and hope that our youth is still there, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. Pride of the West Side, both of these young men. Wish you the best of luck. We'll have the game on YSN Live tomorrow night. Boardman Spartans will invade Rand Stadium against Cheney. Donnie Riccatelli will be on the call. We look forward to that. To close it out with you two, Coach Emil is a special guy. I know he's special to you guys. One word, what Coach Emil means to both of you guys.
That's my family. That's more than a father, for real, honestly. It ain't blood, but that's my father.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. He's definitely a father to me, in a way. I mean, he's a great guy. I love that guy.
Well, West Side, get out and support fine young men. For Donnie Riccatelli, for Todd Thorne, for Steve Leslie, and all of us at YSN. It's been an honor to be here. There's been so many great players that have practiced on this field, Thorny, and played here. The Michael Zordiches, a Heisman Trophy winner. No high schools get to say they have a Heisman Trophy winner.
Matt Kavanaugh.
Yeah, Matt
4 Super
Kavanaugh,
Bowls,
John
5 Super
Cobb, Ed
Bowls.
Mady. We can go on forever.
Coach Burtis.
West Side, they need you tomorrow night. Boardman
right.
comes to town. Thanks for joining us
if you
on
get a
YSN.
chance, help these kids out. They need you.
They need you, and they will help you in any way. A lot of young people looking up to two fine young men right here. So from all of us at YSN, have a good night, everybody.